Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to you all. My name's Harleen, and I'll be your host for today's session. I hope you've all had a great day so far and are now excited and ready for the brand new informative session of the masterclass series organized by the Institute of Product Leadership. Before we begin today's insightful session, I'd like to give you all a quick introduction to the Institute. The Institute of Product Leadership is Asia's first business school providing accredited degree programs and certification courses in product management, product leadership, data science, design, strategy, and leadership. The institute has partnered with multiple universities and was founded in 2012 with the singular mission of creating 10,000 product leaders in the country. Ever since, the organization has designed and delivered programs in collaboration with various institutes, universities, and corporates to the senior working professionals to help. The Institute has built and developed a community of over 4,000 plus successful alumni leading the product, data, and design teams across the world. We're also knowledge partners for 250 plus organizations worldwide. You can find out more about the Institute.
Hey, Harleen, we are not able to hear you in case you're still there and you're trying to join back. I think Harleen is trying to rejoin. We'll give her a minute and then we'll move on to me. Harleen, go ahead, do that again.
I'm sorry.
We,
Okay.
we, we lost you for a bit when you were talking about the university collaborations. That's when we lost
Okay.
you.
Oh, all right. Okay, my bad. Okay, you know what? I will skip over that part. I will go back to about this session, right? Great. Today's session will be interactive, and you're all very welcome to ask your questions with our speaker. So take advantage of this opportunity and post your questions in the Q&A section on Zoom, right? Hopefully, no more internet issues. Before I face any more, I would like to kickstart this session by introducing and welcoming our speaker for this evening, Mr. Ankur Mishra. Ankur is a seasoned leader with expertise in building and scaling products and teams across regions like the US, India, and South Africa. Currently, as the Director of Product Management at Walmart Global Tech India, he drives innovative solutions in supply chain, e commerce, and cybersecurity, blending technology.
I think we lost Harleen again, but let me do this. Let me introduce myself while Harleen is away. She did speak about me working at Walmart. So I'm a director of product at Walmart. And for the last 15 years, there have been things, for the last 16 years, in fact, there have been things that I've been doing in product management. And uh, I have had the opportunity to work across multiple domains, including supply chain for a very long period of time. And very recently, I ventured into cybersecurity. So what I'm going to do here now is talk about one of the most interesting, the new topics that has come up related to artificial intelligence. And the topic is primarily going to be around how do you integrate AI into your product strategies. So I think Harleen is going to take time setting her thing up. I will go ahead and share my screen in the meanwhile. As she was saying, you can continue to ask me questions on the Q&A section. What I'll do is I will keep looking at it at a certain period in time. This is a long session, a 2 hour session. wherein I want to take you through absolute basics of AI, what's happening as a product manager, where does your role come in, and do you really need to have AI everywhere? So I'm going to take that, walk you through it. This is a slide deck of around 55 slides. Feel free to take screenshots if you need to. I'm not sure if Harleen is going to provide you all with the PPT or the deck. Um, Also, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and I can help you out in case you have any other questions. But let me start with this, right? What are we here for? So this is a 2-hour session where we want to talk about integrating AI into our product strategy. Now, what are we essentially doing? We are actually riding on a wave that the rest of the world is riding, or we are actually working to provide value to our customers, because essentially that is what we are trying to do. Whatever happens, your customer is the king. You need to understand what you're building for the customer, and how do you do it in a way that you are always thinking 2 steps ahead of how the customer might be moving. So with that, I want to move on to the first slide, which is a disclaimer. I'm doing this in my personal capacity and not as a representative at Walmart. These do not reflect the views of Walmart and not endorsed by Walmart. This is an important thing. I'm going to give you a lot of examples from the industry, and we're going to talk a lot about those things as well. So it's a 8 step agenda slide that you see over here. We're going to talk about what is AI, what is AI in product context, how is it that we are using AI on a day-to-day basis, how is it that we think of AI, what is it that we understand of AI, because it's a misplaced word, as strategy. I think people are tactical and they call those tactics as strategy as well. So there are a lot of things that you're going to listen about as well. There are things that I've done within my organization as well in terms of AI. Even before AI was a buzzword, and literally everybody in this age and world are working on chatbots. So some or the other usage you would have done. You have worked on data. Essentially, one of the things that we are going to harp about and speak about over and over again is have data, understand data. And then if you have the right amount of data and the right set of people are looking at it, it's very easy to leverage AI in your organizations, in the industry that you are going towards. What we've also done is there are a couple of polls, and I don't know, Harleen, if you're back. I wanted to run a couple of polls and get a little bit of understanding on what is your understanding about AI. So, Harleen, if you want to go ahead and launch the first poll, maybe we
Yeah,
can see what the attendees are looking at.
yeah, I'll do that. I hope the poll is visible on everyone's screen.
I can see it.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I see people answering some, assuming everyone can see it as well. Great.
I think there is a simple winner at this point in time. There are a lot of people who are responding to. Oh, it's changing a bit as well, but is it? Gen AI powered solutions. I think that is what we are tending towards. And there is a very, very close race with another answer. So let's give another, how much time do we have? Another 30 seconds? Let's give another 30 seconds for everybody to respond. We have around 37 responses. I think another 5 of us, 8 of us need to respond. All right, I think we can end the poll now because we have good representation on what people are looking at. So the answer, we can share the results, right?
Yeah, I hope everyone can see the answers, the results of the poll.
Yeah. So I think it's a very good mix of people who are excited about Gen AI powered solutions. So I'm going to ask you a subsequent question as well. I'm going to take a minute talking about this, right? Scalable and sustainable tech. I think for a lot of you who are from tech industry understand that you cannot build for today, you need to build for future. And if you're also thinking about things like AI, Gen AI, you are thinking about the future as well. Also, from the organization that I come from, the industry that I come from, we are serving millions of customers on a daily basis. There is a lot of data, uh, hundreds of terabytes of data, gigabytes of data, and the extreme units of bytes of data are being generated on a day-to-day basis. So we are able to see what the customer patterns are. And hence, data and insights, surprisingly, is a lower answer. It does not excite you, but then I'm going to come back and speak about later how data and insights are important, valuable for us. And then cutting edge AR, VR experiences. This is something that is already being used by a lot of organizations within India, outside India as well. Um, and I think one of the pioneers in India was Lenskart, I believe, wherein you could actually see how would a frame look on you. There are other things that are more mature in that sense, but that was a very simple use case that we can talk about. There's another question which is subsequent to this. Harleen, if you want to ask our guys the second question as well, that would be amazing. Could you launch the poll on the second question?
I've
All
launched
right.
the poll. Yeah, okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I think I kept this simple. I kept this question very simple. As a layman, have you figured out what AI is? And I'd be like excited to know what kind of answers you all are giving. So please feel free to use chat. Feel free to use your Q&A, and it would be great to understand your perspective as well. What is it that you understand what AI is? Again, I'm not looking from the perspective of a general definition which is available on Google, but on a day-to-day basis, the things that you're using, everybody is technology savvy at this minute. We are using the Blinkits and the Zeptos of the world as well. How are they utilizing our data? How is it that they are making things available to us really fast? We can end the poll here. I think we have got good amount of answers, Harleen. So it seems like the group has really understood as a layman, they've figured out what AI is. And that makes it easier for me to take you through the rest of the session as I am going to talk about a lot of textbook things over here, but I'm also going to talk about how is it that as a product manager, you should be looking at AI. Because that's the more important part. How is it that you're going to bring it into your organization? What is it that we are going to culturally look to change? How are we going to engage with people and teams uh, so that we could implement? So again, I'm going to move on to the agenda and speak about understanding AI in product context. There are benefits of AI-driven products, AI technologies, and product integration. How does that work? Integrating AI into your product strategy, which is the core piece. It's a 12-step process that I've devised, which I look to talk to you all about. Challenges and considerations, some case studies that I've put together, which you can see are valuable from across industries, how AI is being used, what were they able to do, and some future trends. AI in itself is the present and the future of a lot of things that we are doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through some of these things, take a break, look at the Q&A, try to answer your questions, and over the period of time, I would look to answer a lot of these questions as well. So again, as I said, there is so much to discuss. Like there are plethora of things. When I was trying to put this PPT together, I could cut down to 55 slides. I started with 120 slides maybe. Then I thought about that I'm going to bore a lot of people when I speak a lot about this. But then again, I want this to be interactive in the sense I'm going to give you examples that allow you to relate back. I'm also going to talk about things which are common sense, which are around you, which make it easy for you to comprehend some of the things that we want to do from a product manager perspective. The other thing, right, the basic concept that I want to lay out even right now is that AI is like any other technology, right? So if you're trying to integrate it into your product strategy, there are certain things that you need to do from an organizational perspective as well, from a strategic perspective as well, because unless and until your organization is ready to adopt, you'll not be able to integrate it back into your product strategy. So that's a precursor to how you're going to work as well. But again, AI is transformative in modern product design and functionality. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to go ahead and use Gemini, Claude, Anthropic's Claude is one of the best Gen AI products in my view. You can go ahead and create models and do whatnot with it. Chat GPT, everyone is aware of it. I take that name last because I feel there are other things which have come out which are much better. If you've used I don't know how you call it, but Dolly or Dali, that's amazing as well. How you create images and how is it that you're able to create new content which never really existed. I was watching one thing over internet wherein Javed Akhtar was talking about that his job is secure till the time, there are things like AI that come into picture because AI will not be able to bring human emotions into a lot of things. So again, as product managers, he's throwing a challenge back at us. Maybe we should look at it. How is it that we do it? But then creativity is one thing that probably comes from a human and not from AI. It is important to integrate AI into product strategies for some very specific reasons, which you're seeing over here, right? Competitive advantage is one of the biggest pieces. If your competition is doing it and you're not doing it at this point in time, you're already a few light years behind. There is so much data that is being generated by organizations on a daily basis, on a minute to minute basis, in a world wherein we are doing 6, 7, 10 minute, 15 minute, 20 minute deliveries, and even the Flipkarts of the world had to jump into doing the minutes deliveries. You understand that competitive advantage is a big piece. There are organizations which are transforming, and I'm going to talk about e-commerce organizations which are transforming their search through AI. So whatever you are actually going to look for when you log into a website, they probably already know that you're out of eggs, that you're out of milk and whatnot, and they would already show it on their, the header pages, the consoles as well, so that it is available to you right as you get to it. They may want to hide it as well so that you actually do some impulse buying before you get to your eggs and the milk as well. So some of those things are being utilized as strategy. The other very important thing, right? Your customer is very smart. Your customer is already having certain expectations from you, from the industry. So the rising customer expectations, the consumer expectations are also very important. So if you're part of e-commerce industry, there is already so much happening. But let's say you're part of manufacturing industry. You are a John Deere of the world who's making tractors. The customer has already started thinking from the front of, oh, what is it that they could bring new so that my tractors have a technology that allow the weeds to be taken out on its own, and I don't have to care about how deep the weed is and how does the tractor move, how do my tillers move and whatnot. So the customer is already thinking about it, and the organizations have to think two steps ahead maybe and do these things. The third important thing, right? There are new product categories that are arising now. So there was never a market for creating new content from scratch through technology. So there would always be human intervention where you would come in, you would try to create something on your own. Now, at a single prompt, you're able to create new things. You're able to write songs. You're able to create music by giving in certain information. And that product category never existed. And this is something that we intentionally or unintentionally do not think about. But there is a lot of new work that has been brought in with AI coming into picture. We are also moving towards a data-driven product life cycle, right? So we know with the data that we are consuming as product managers, as customers, the data that we are creating is being utilized to make our lives better. So when I say R, it is both the product managers, the engineers, and the customers. We are utilizing that data to roll out features that make it easy for us to achieve our goals, our OKRs. And as customers, we leverage the best that is being given out by the technologists as well. And the last part, right? Importance of responsible AI. Because privacy, bias, and transparency are critical. I was watching something related to Maharashtra elections. There was some AI generated content that was put together for one of the politicians. They were talking about crypto. It was pretty given that that was created through AI. So responsible AI is also an important piece, right? So I'm going to take a quick stop here. I'm going to look at chat um, or the questions, right? So I think, Saikiran, you're saying what are some of the some other new product categories apart from songs and music creation? I think we can really talk about some other product categories as well, right? So if you were to think about some other new technologies that are coming in, let me think about it as I talk more. Um, there was one that I was actually seeing yesterday in terms of um, search through AI as a service, right? AI as a service did not exist earlier. So again, when you do AI as a service, uh, maybe ChatGPT or a Gemini are providing these AI services to big organizations who are now starting to, utilize some stuff which they would have not done otherwise. So some LLMs are being utilized by big organizations that they would have not done otherwise. So those are other things that come to my mind. I can continue to think about more as we talk about it as well. I think Bashir, you have a question you want to put it on chat on Q&A. That would be great as well. Harleen, could you put across the questions to me? I'm not able to see the Q&A tab.
Yes, of course. Okay. In our Q&A tab so far, I think Imtiaz let us know what his understanding of AI is, where he said AI is like the friendly neighborhood superhero. It helps with initial icebreaker needed to begin huge and critical tasks at work and off work.
Absolutely, which
Yeah.
is not wrong. But you
Okay.
also need to see that your uh, friendly neighbor does not get intrusive at some point in time, right? Also, I was thinking about another product category, right? The Alexas of the world that we are talking about. They're constantly listening to our conversations. The Google Homes of the world as well. That was a product category that did not exist earlier. That is something that has come in through data, through the advent of some of the features that have come in through AI as well. Again, we were not talking so much about AI, Gen AI, maybe 5 years back when some of these products were launched, 5 to 6 years back, but these are becoming more and more integrated into our lives, and we tend to not see. We tend to become nose blind to a lot of these things as well. So that's another product category that comes to my mind. But yeah, go ahead, Harleen, another question.
We had Abdullah also share his understanding of AI, saying, have understood AI to some extent. In India, tech automation is called AI, whereas in the US, they are far ahead in applying core AI.
So see, again, what is core AI, what is automation, you really need to understand some of these things, right? Who are the key players in AI? What is happening in core automation as well? So, what is core automation in general? Let me ask that question, right? Automation is something that you were doing 13 steps to do something, you've moved that to a one-step process, right? How is it that you have moved to the one-step process? Is where you think where you have engaged and leveraged the technology that we are trying to talk about. So have you leveraged some of the models that AI has? And if you really think about it, you cannot really talk about what India is doing versus US is doing in that matter, because technology, a lot of technology work that is done by US organizations happens out of India. So I think that debate in itself is non unreal to me. But if you really think about, right, the use cases that we are talking about encompass US users or India users and whatnot. If you really think about the Blinkits of the world, the Zeptos of the world, they have personalized their search, which is core AI work. All they have done is they've leveraged data, they've automated, they have personalized stuff, which is being used. So it is, in my view, it's a different debate altogether. Works a little differently. So yeah, I think about it a little differently from how you have called out. So and again, I'm a strong believer of whatever is happening in a lot of US organizations. There is amazing talent that's available in US. There is great talent that's available in India as well, who's doing a lot of this work.
Of course, that makes sense. Thank you, Ankur. We have a couple of questions. We have the first from Sai Kiran, who has asked, "What are some other new product categories apart from songs and music creation?"
Yeah, I think I answered, right? Some
Yeah,
of the Alexas and the Google
we have. Okay.
place of the world.
Yeah, we have Praveen who has asked, what about the product in cloud migration and execution of various features of any company like SaaS?
Sorry, I didn't get that question. What about the product in cloud
In
migration and
cloud
execution of
migration and
various features?
execution of various features of any company like SaaS.
So,
Maybe
Praveen, if
Praveen,
I
if you could,
understand your,
expand a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, Praveen, I think what you're trying to ask is how is it that SaaS-based products are leveraging AI? If that is the question, then again, it all depends on what kind of product that you are building, right? You can go for the smallest of use cases to something which is very extensive, and you're building a platform altogether when whole of your organization is going to start utilizing AI. So again, let me tell you, right? And I think I see a question on from Tirtha as well. Let's read that question and maybe I'll answer both the questions together, maybe.
Okay, great. I'll read out Tirtha's question, which is, how do we contribute and make impact better to the end customer in stores or online platforms, rather our counterparts in US or Europe using AI, especially through product management? Our PM roles in retail GCCs are as impactful as tech or product companies in terms of AI implementation.
So great question, right? So very simple answer. We make a lot of impact. So it all depends on how your organization is set up. I know this is a little detour from the whole topic itself, but let me take this question. It's a very important question. And Praveen, I'm going to try to answer your question collectively with this one. So how is it that we are making an impact over here is, so my one of our leaders, he speaks really well about the engagement models that we have with our, let's say, US counterparts or counterparts across the globe, right? So there is a model called leadership. In fact, let's call it ownership, partnership, and leadership, or partnership, ownership, and leadership. When generally a lot of organizations start, right, there is a lot of follower work that you do. So there are a lot of partnerships that we are building with our organization base, whichever is the biggest base with the GCCs here in India. So we are partnering a lot, right? Once you have built trust, you have moved to a different model altogether wherein you have started getting certain ownership. When you get that ownership, right, that is when you are able to start new ideas and you start innovating out of here as well. It's not that within partnership you're not innovating, just that your charter is built a little differently. Now we have moved to an ownership model wherein that product completely belongs to you, and the external country, like in US or in Europe or any other country wherein your base is, that part of the organization has said you own it completely, so go ahead, innovate, do whatever you need to do. This is the P&L and this is how it needs to be. So they have given you targets, so you own it and then you move in that direction. The third part is leadership, right? You've moved from the partnership, ownership, and leadership model. You've moved from partnership and ownership. You are the leader right now, wherein you have done certain things, you have implemented certain things, and you are now acting as the leader to the rest of the organization. And you are saying, see, this is what I have done, which can be leveraged by the whole organization. So, from a platform perspective, right? So, you could build platforms that could be leveraged across your organization. And it happens a lot of it happens in big organizations as well. You build platforms that could be used internationally across multiple parts of the organization, or within the organization within different areas as well. So as product manager, right, it depends which model is your team part of. Even if you are in the partnership model, you can continue to add value by talking about, if you are doing things, how is it that you can do them better? Because unless and until you do things better, you will never get into the ownership model and then the leadership model subsequently. So, in my view, right, even with AI is just another technology wherein we need a lot of help from the data science guys who are doing amazing job to bring this to fruition, bring this to life. So we continue to leverage their help. We as product managers have that vision. In our products, we talk about what is it that we are looking from the perspective of building for future, if that is related to AI and AI could help us, why not? And Praveen, to answer your question, right, for any SaaS organization as well, for that matter, it works in a very similar way. It all depends on how you, as a product manager, are integrated within the organization, and how is it that you can, you develop your roadmap, and you could do it that way as well. So cloud migration, even in cloud migration, if you're really talking about, you can think about what is it that you are doing there, how is it that you automate within cloud migration, what are your KPIs that you're looking at, and with those KPIs you could see whether you could leverage a specific model to do some of these things faster, some of these things in a way that when you are migrating for one part of the organization, what happens to the rest of it as well. So I think it's a longish answer, but I hope I am making sense to you guys, because as I said, AI is just another technology that is the buzzword right now, which is creating waves. You as product manager need to do two or three things: understand what it is, continue to add value, and then subsequently take smaller steps to integrate it into your roadmap, which we are going to talk about from a strategy perspective, how you can do it. I'm going to move on. I know that was a long drawn answer. So thank you so much for asking those questions, right? Continue to stop me in case you think there are more questions that are arising, and I'll be more than happy to answer those. Okay, how do I move to the next slide? Why am I not able? Yeah. So understanding AI in product context, I think this is another important thing, right? What are we talking about? Like, what is it that everyone, when they say I understand AI, are they really thinking about these three or four things? So there are three key things. There is artificial intelligence, which is a simulation of human intelligence and machines. This is the textbook definition, which you're saying you have figured out. Good, we have. Because how do you figure something out? As Einstein said, if you're able to explain it in simple words to somebody, that's when you have figured it out. If you're able to explain this in simple words, that is the goal. Machine learning is AI systems that can learn and improve from experience. I'll take the simplest of examples. If your chatbot, there are multiple things that you have been feeding into the chatbot over a period of time, and it's learning. It does amazing things as well. Deep learning, advanced ML using neural networks with multiple layers. Self-driving cars are a great example of how deep learning has come into picture, and how is it that some of that is being used. And some key AI capabilities that you can think about: pattern recognition, which is part of deep learning as well, decision making and prediction. A lot of work in AI that you are doing right now is from a predictive analysis perspective as well. Again, what you're doing is you're collecting data. There are some smart guys who are looking at that data, doing the magic, and then there is an AI UI that you are creating. Through that UI, you're just displaying that magic in a totally different way altogether. So again, if you ask me what is a product manager's role in all of this, you need to be able to understand and comprehend in your mind and have that vision. If we are able to leverage the data that's available with me, how is it that I can show it to the customer so that they think it is valuable? It is valuable. We have to make them feel that it is valuable as well. So how AI can enhance product capabilities, right? There are 7 or 8 things that I've written down over here. These were some of the things that I talked about earlier as well. Somebody asked, people are saying automation is what people are calling as AI. Yes, it is, right? Some of it is you're automating some stuff that otherwise would have required 3 humans to do in a lot of time, which now can be done much faster. Content writing, right? If I were to talk about it, there is a lot of content that is published on LinkedIn on a day-to-day basis. Do you think everyone is writing that on a day-to-day basis? They're going ahead, putting a prompt on AI, and they're just pasting it over there. It's very easy to figure out who's pasting versus who's not, who's actually thinking from their brains and doing it. That's another way that you've automated. Even LinkedIn had a feature wherein you could write something, click on enhance this with AI, and it would change the whole thing itself. So if you've done it, wonderful. Personalization, right? Tailoring product experience to individual users. Again, I keep going back to the e-commerce examples in a way that if you were to personalize something on the website that Ankur comes every Monday to buy eggs and milk on this website. I am going to make it customizable for him in a way that probably the front screen, the front console shows eggs and the varieties of milk itself. Previously bought items also have more context. Again, data science teams have been doing this for the past so much time, just that we have started adding certain key features with the use of enhanced UI so that people have, started giving it more importance as well. And thus AI has also started becoming the star of the show. Predictive features, right? Anticipating user needs and behaviors. Now, though I come in every Monday and try to buy eggs and milk, but every winter month when I log onto that website on a Monday, when the temperature has fallen down to 5 degrees Celsius in Delhi, I do not buy eggs and milk. I buy a bottle of rum, maybe, if that website allows. So you should be able to predict that for me. Your inventory should have that available as well, knowing that Ankur orders that specific brand of rum from this website. And that is something that you're looking at. That is how AI can enhance product capabilities. Adaptive interfaces, we just spoke about a bit of this as well, right? Wherein whatever you're trying to buy at what period in time, what point in time, the seasonality and whatnot, keeping all that in mind, you should be able to see how you can add more value from an AI perspective. Enhanced data analytics, real-time decision support, natural interactions. Natural interactions, we're seeing a lot of it from enabling voice, gesture, or text-based commands. If you use Microsoft Teams, right, and you have your thumb up, uh, it actually shows a thumb up emoji on the screen itself. So it does that animation and shows the thumb up emoji. Even if it does not understand, if your hand was like this and I'm not trying to do a thumb up, it will still show that. So again, there are good things, there are bad things, there are things that do not make sense as well. But it is enhancing product capabilities. There are product managers who are thinking about these things, who are seeing, reading the body language of the customers. My camera is on, probably Zoom is also trying to read what am I doing, unless it's encrypted end to end, of what am I doing, how do I speak. I have a YouTube channel. One of the videos that I put over there in my voice was actually AI generated. So I just put a voice sample over there, and I put the text that I want to speak, and the video was generated in no time. So there are apps, there are things which are happening at this point in time, and we are improving a lot on some of these things as well. How is it integrating into products? Embedded AI, AI as a service, and hybrid approaches, wherein you're combining on devices and cloud AI. LLMs are providing a lot of services as well, wherein you can take LLMs, multiple LLMs, and devise a model of your own that you could utilize in your organization. AI capabilities can be built directly into products as well. Some of the chatbots people are using in the personalized search spaces as well, embedded AI is being used. And the role of AI, right? What is it? Role of data in AI-driven products. Unless and until you had that data set collected in the right way, you would have not known what's happening and what's the need. So we need to be smart in understanding that AI is not magic. It is a pattern derived from the user behavior that you have now started utilizing and doing in different ways. As a product manager, right? I know I'm moving across these slides very fast and I'm going to come back and answer. I see 2 or 3 items on the chat as well. How is it that AI is impacting our product life cycle? Because as a product manager, right, you are leveraging AI in literally all steps. In design phase, you can have AI assisted ideation and prototyping. What is that? People are utilizing AI to write their PRDs. I do not know how smart that is, because AI does not understand your customer problems. You as a product manager do. So if you're trying to do it, you're not very smart, right? So understand that part. Development, automated testing and optimization. Now that's a great use case. If you really know how to protect your data, how is it that you can feed your data into the model? It's a great use case and it's going to save you a lot of time as well. From a launch perspective, right? If you have good predictive market analysis and targeting, it makes it very easy. I think the biggest problem that one faces from a product manager perspective, and a lot of products fail because of it, is the product market fit. If you had a way to do predictive market analysis in the right way, you had data from different markets available, you could predict something. Or if you're thinking from a supply chain perspective, if you knew that you're going to launch a product, when you launch that product, what's the inventory that you need to have, and all of that is available to you through a predictive model that's generated out of AI. If you already know that Ankur is going to come in first winter or first month of winter in Delhi and buy a specific kind of RAM, you're able to inventorize that. You're not losing on sales as well. So at launch as well, some of these things are absolutely becoming critical as well. And then post-launch continuous improvement through user data is another key case, another important thing to understand. Because once you have sold it, you want the retention as well. We talk about all kinds of metrics, right? From activation to retention. You have to understand that as product manager, you're looking at all possible, ends and means to make sure your customer is buying stuff from you and then coming back to you as well, and is retained. So I'm going to take a pause there. I'm not going to talk about some of these things. The benefits, I'm going to come back, but I'm going to take some questions on chat. Aline, go ahead.
Okay, we have one from Chetna who has asked, what are the key factors or risks that I should be aware of if I'm planning to leverage AI for a B2B product strategy?
There are many. We're going to come to that actually. There is some part of the presentation that does talk about those risks, right? Because you are trying to look at how secure your data is, one, whenever you are leveraging AI models. So you have to understand this thing, right? Let me take a step back and talk about this question once again. So whether it be a B2B product or a B2C product, it does not matter. Think from an organization perspective. You have to talk about the organizational readiness to leverage AI. It is as simple as that. So if you are a B2B product manager at Udan, for example, right? And you are trying to leverage some capability, some functionality in terms of inventory management. What is it that you would do? You would want to do some predictive modeling, try to understand that with this customer, probably I'm going to need so many Parle-G biscuits. At that point in time, I know there was something that happened with Parle-G and Udhan, so somehow it came to me directly. But you're trying to do that. At that point in time, one, is your organization ready to leverage an external LLM? Or is it that you have worked on your own models and you think that your data that you are bringing in is secure? Because one of the aspects, and I'm now working in cybersecurity, I understand cybersecurity in a totally different light and sense at this moment, which we have not seen as a regular general product manager doing product management. I was not thinking about a lot of these things as well. How your organization is vulnerable whenever you are using an external model. How is it that you're keeping a lot of things secure in terms of a query being raised to the organization as well? Again, so generic answer. One, is your organization ready to leverage AI? If yes, in what capability? Also, as a B2B product manager, you have to understand you're not only putting your data at risk, you're also going to put an external organization's data at risk as well, which may be a big conglomerate. Parle, for example, in case of Parle-G and Udaan. So how is it that you're going to keep that data secure? What kind of integrations are you going to make to leverage that AI model? And unless and until all those key questions are answered, right, you cannot go ahead and start just saying that, oh, I have AI that I've leveraged. So even a simple chatbot that I'm talking about, how are you going to build that chatbot based on some of the LLMs? What is it that Parle might be looking? What portal is Parle going to come into at Udaan, and what Parle and Udaan are going to talk to each other? How do they interact with each other? Some of those considerations need to be kept in mind. You need to be careful about it and only then proceed and do the rest of your work. I know it was a It was an answer that went round and round, but there is a very simple thing. It's a very simple answer. And it's not, it depends. It is for sure, it depends, but it depends with your organization as well, how ready your organization is to implement B2B. I
Great,
hope
thank
that answers. I know it was a long drawn circular answer, but that's how things are.
Yeah, I'm sure Chetna can let us know in the chat. Until
Absolutely.
then, we have a question from Amit who has asked, should we make a distinction between the pre-chat GPT era of AI ML versus post-chat GPT? What has changed drastically post that? Is it mostly driven by generative AI?
Generative AI is a big use case, right? I don't know. We should do that, Amit. I think um, Tesla is utilizing all the best things in the world to make that car. I don't know. I don't like how Cybertruck looks, but that is effective. You know that you cannot throw a rock at it and the glass is going to break. You know those things, right? But again, they're not making the body using AI. But the features that exist within that is through some of the core capabilities that exist within AI. So I don't think you can do a pre and post, but very importantly, right? You need to, and I'll go back to this piece, right? When I was talking about, you need to understand that these three things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning, were existing before as well. Just that somebody thought of an intelligent and smart way to leverage some of these things and make a UI for a user that made the people feel these things fancier than they actually were. People were already doing this. Data science was a job that existed even before that. Just that the relevance of that has increased many folds post some of these things, right? So there was a smart product manager who did some of it. So I give it to the product managers. Amit,
Great.
I hope that you have answered. If not, you can ask me a follow-up question as well. I'd be more than happy to answer. But go ahead, Harleen.
Yeah. The next one is from Praveen, who has asked, what have been the innovations and enhanced capabilities in supply chain using AI lately? Would appreciate some real life examples.
Um, Again, I'm not supposed to talk about Walmart, but there are some that exist on the Walmart website. I would recommend you go there and read about them, because supply chain is a big part of what we do at Walmart. So I would strongly recommend you go and do that. But if I were to talk about a lot of other organizations as well, right? Inventory management, the predictive analysis that has been done on inventory management is a big piece. There are a lot of organizations in the retail world who have done that part. And the forecast accuracy in supply chain, in S&OP processes has also increased drastically. So again, one simple answer that comes to my mind is go back to walmart.com, read about it. There's a wonderful case study that talks about leveraging AI in supply chain. There's some great work that the teams have done, which I'm very proud of. So yeah, please. Sorry, Praveen, I could not talk about it, so I'm not giving. I like it's not coming at the top of my mind right now from other organizations' perspective. Otherwise, I would have given that answer as well.
Of course, no worries, Ankur. We have another question from Vinay who has asked, as a product manager, how do you take the decision to keep a check on the energy consumption as AI requires massive amounts of computational power?
That's a great question, right? There is simple answer to it. Be cognizant about it, but allow the others to make that decision. You're not always the decision making authority in a lot of cases, right? So what's going to happen is that pass on the problem to your architects, to your data scientists, to the other guys in the organization who want to do this. I think one of the core things that you need to keep in mind is how you're affecting the PNL. One, right? It's very important. This because using AI is cost. So you have to keep that PNL at the level that your organization wants you to keep it. The other thing which is very important is that leverage strength from everybody. It is not a single product manager's job to implement AI. Like it cannot happen. So there are some amazing engineers, there's some amazing data scientists and architects who are behind this. And one of the things which is core to what a lot of organizations, a lot of tech organizations are doing right now is building platforms. So when people build platforms, right, they're already talking about these non-functional requirements in a way and solving for these problems. So I would say we allow some other people to solve for that problem. Keep an eye on it, understand what's the impact on PNL, see whether the queries are optimized, whether you're getting the results in the time that you need them to be in as well or not, and then let some other smart people do their job as well.
Great. Thanks for that, Ankur. We have a response from Chetna about her question of leveraging AI for a B2B product strategy. She has said, thanks for answering, but just wanted some specific pointers on specific factors and risks that a PM should be aware of when it
We
comes
will
to
we will
AI.
talk about it. We will talk about the specifics maybe, and I can try to diverge towards some
Of
B2B
course.
product manager as well. See again, if you're a product manager, a B2B or a B2C, right? The core principles remain the same. You still need to write your PRDs. You still need to understand how is it that you're impacting your customer, how is it that you're impacting your PNL, and ultimately you're able to launch a product with certain features. It's the same principles, and when we talk about what is it that you need to keep in mind, organizational readiness, and some other things that we are going to talk about as we move forward. All right, let's move forward if there is nothing else.
I'm sure you should go ahead. We can come back to the questions, I think.
There is a question from Parimal. I want to take that question as well.
Of course. The
Then move
question from
forward.
Parimal is, can you please share insights on defining the product KPIs for a Gen AI product?
See again, the core principles of defining KPIs do not change. It all depends on what your product is. So always think about KPIs from the perspective of a functional KPI and a non-functional KPI, right? Depending on your functional requirements and your non-functional requirements. If you want your query responses, if you're building a chatbot product as GenAI, then your query responses need to be within so much amount of time, whether it's 100 milliseconds, 200 milliseconds, 500 milliseconds. The retrieval rate of a file of a doc should be this. You should be able to answer queries. The null answers or null queries should be less than 1%, 2%, whatever, right? So the core principles do not change. They have to be exactly the same. You, depending on the OKR that you're looking to drive, you can go ahead and do that. So I'll take an example, right? If you're trying to build an AI product for inventory management where you want to improve your inventory accuracy. So what is your core OKR? You're saying that my objective is to improve the accuracy by X%. Move it from 70% accuracy to 75% accuracy. So a 5% increase you're looking at. How are you going to do it? So you are going to drive your key results through some initiatives, correct? So through every initiative, one of the initiatives is going to be implement AI predictive modeling that improves your uh, inventory predictability or inventory availability by 2%. So to do that 2%, what is it that you need to do? So again, from a computational perspective, right, there was a KPI that you could put for yourself that this is the amount of resources that it should consume. You should also think about if you are doing inventory improvement or inventory, again, I forget the exact word that I was talking about. But then again, you can continue to look at the basics of product management and see how is it that you're going to write metrics for that. There is no different metric that you write for a Gen AI product differently, right? It would be in terms of cost and P&L. Obviously, I look at that for sure because that is a key feature. You can also talk about how quickly your results are generated. How is it that your core processes are affected? Wherever you're going to integrate the AI factor, what is the pre-cycle time and the post-cycle time as well? Some of those things could be utilized as your KPIs. So again, it is a very uh, you know generic answer in the sense of it depends on what kind of AI product you are implementing. Because unless and until you have clarity on that, I don't think we can give a specific answer on that part. But yeah, I just wanted to go through and speak about that. Okay. I will go ahead and continue, Harleen. Will take the questions at the end of this. I'm going to
Of
move
course.
a little faster and move towards the piece wherein we are going to talk about how is it that we integrate products into our, or how we integrate AI into our product strategy. But before that, right, benefits of the AI-driven products. We have talked about improved user experiences. We have talked about how we're going to personalize, do predictive capabilities, natural interfaces, adaptive UI, UX, and 24/7 availability. I think one of the other metrics that we were looking at, right? And some of these could be built in as the metrics that you go forward. So you can talk about the amount of personalization that you have given in case you're talking about a search feature, how many times the customer has returned in case you are talking about your repeat customers in case of search, how many repeat orders have happened as well. So some of those things could be another thing. How quickly have you delivered products to the customer could be another vanity metric. Your on-time delivery could also improve with your inventory predictability as well. So again, to answer that previous question and build context to it, some of these things do help you define those metrics. Increased efficiency and productivity, right? We were talking about an example wherein your inventory availability, we were looking to improve that. How is it that you look at automation of tasks, you optimize your processes, you reduce your errors, you make the decision making faster, and you optimize your resources? Through your AI insights, right? Through the AI-driven insights, the data that's available, the work that your data scientists are doing, you are actually looking to make it easier and make a lot of things automated and spit out a result within the process that allows your user to have a better and productive way of doing a process that they were doing earlier. So again, inventory availability. It took somebody X amount of time to forecast what inventory should be available. That has now reduced by 10 folds because your availability has improved by 20%. So that could be another metric that you could use. And these are some of the things, depending on the use case, you could use one of these benefits versus the other. So continue to leverage a lot of these points across the use cases that you build. Enhanced decision-making capabilities, right? Very similar to what I talked about. You have data-driven insights. There is predictive analytics that you're getting. Your risk assessment, because you are identifying risk very early in time period as well if you're implementing some of the AI products. Again, going back to inventory availability, if you had your inventory availability done in the right time, you had all the seasonal factors tracked in, you very clearly know that if I'm looking to stock a bottle of rum at this point in time, there's a shortage at the vendor, you will not be able to do it. You will be able to find another vendor who could provide that product as well. So some of that also depends on the use case that you take up. This also adds back to the scenario modeling piece, right? Wherein you are able to go ahead, look at the scenarios that could have happened otherwise, and be better at decision making part. Personalization at a scale, right? I've talked about personalization a lot in how AI is allowing us to do things better. Dynamic pricing is one thing that comes to my mind as well when I speak about personalization. While eggs and milk would have costed me some amount of money, the prices are going to vary if the individual customer value and market conditions are changing. If I know that more eggs and more milk is consumed during this time period, and there is lesser number of people who can come in and deliver stuff at my home, I might want to increase the price as well. So there is dynamic pricing that could be leveraged through the personalization that we could do through AI. Now, again, this would be sounding like, oh, so then where is AI? What is AI doing? Again, AI is not the magic word to solve all of these things. These are the things that product managers have been solving in different ways. So what is AI essentially doing? AI is actually leveraging the data that was already collected, putting it in a model, leveraging machine learning for that model to learn further, and then spit out some facts to the product managers, to the customers, so that they could, have a better life, and they could leverage benefits out of what is being done. There is one thing that I've added in terms of what can happen in other industries as well, right? Personalized health interventions. If you were in healthcare domain, you would tailor the medical advice and treatment plans as well. There are a lot of hospitals in Bangalore right now who have started leveraging AI. And when you do your yearly checkups, it runs through certain models and it tells you, like, if you were to do so much and so on, you would have a different lifestyle altogether. So there was an article some days back where people were talking about whether this makes sense, whether the role of doctors is going to change or not. But this is already happening. The hospitals and the healthcare systems have started utilizing AI for health interventions. Uh, Companies like GE Healthcare have started utilizing AI in making better healthcare products as well, which is an example that I'm going to use at a later point in time as well. New revenue streams and business models, right? There were new capabilities that have come up that we were talking about. Data monetization is another big piece that has come into picture, wherein if you are on a daily basis generating so much amount of data, how is it that you make money out of it? AI has made it possible through certain models that you can now provide to organizations, and leverage that data to build your own analysis based on how the industry is doing. AI is being offered as a service, as a standalone product as well. There are people who are building chatbots and selling it day in, day out. I see a lot of small organizations reach out to me on a daily basis as well. We have this chatbot that you can utilize. There is this analytics platform that you can utilize. These things were not available in the past. Analytics platforms that allow you to spit out data depending on if you are integrated with their model through a data stream, and you ask a question through voice, and they spit out the answer as well, and they draw graphs and whatnot. Some of these things are new business models, new things that have come up with the advent of AI as well, and is part of AI as a service. The ecosystem expansion has been happening. Predictive maintenance is one key part that has been utilized in manufacturing industries. I know at Bosch, they have started using predictive maintenance through AI. In fact, this was being done in Germany a few years back itself. They had started doing it. I'm a Bosch alumni. I know there were a lot of new things that they wanted to do in some of their plants across Maharashtra as well. So this is something that has come, this is already happening, just that a lot of us who come from different industries have started seeing it now when the organizations have started making this public. See, this is the important part, and being a cybersecurity product manager now, looking at things differently, these 4 points make a lot of sense to me now, and I want you all to look at it, right? Anomaly detection, identifying unusual patterns that may indicate security threats. How, as a B2B product manager, when I was talking about that specific example as well, you were looking for, um, you have to look at how is it that you're consuming data from an organization, and how is it creating a security threat for you or for the organization that is trying to consume your data. Fraud prevention. How is it that you are taking care of fraudulent activities in real time? Airtel has done an amazing job. They're leveraging AI right now, wherein, and in fact, Apple and Airtel have done some collaboration as well, I believe, wherein whenever you get a spam call, it's actually marking the number as a fraud or a spam as well, and you get it on your screen itself. So, which is amazing, which is a real-time use case. I get a million calls every day, which are marked as spam, which I don't pick up now, which I had to pick up earlier thinking, oh, who's calling? So that has changed. Predictive maintenance I've spoken about. This is something from a manufacturing industry perspective as well. If you know that something is going to break in time because some part is being used more than the other part. Internet of Things allowed that in the past as well. This is an extension of Internet of Things as well, and predictive maintenance is a possibility. And enhanced monitoring, because you have continuous surveillance. It's happening 24/7 as well. through data models that already exist with you. You have so much data available. You know that a part is going to get consumed in 100,000 hours, and you have data available for it. You have patterns. You know, if your parts in manufacturing start showing up in a certain way, it is the time to go ahead and change that. It was all happening earlier as well, but it required manual intervention to tell you. Now, what has changed it that systematically you are able to do an intervention, and the human can come in and confirm, yes, this is the time we go ahead and change, right? So that's how. So you're not taking human out of it completely. You are keeping the human in, but you are changing the way how the approach would have happened. Competitive advantage is something that I spoke about in the beginning because everybody else is doing it. You need to do it as well. Uh, in a B2C industry, in a B2B industry, there are others who have started leveraging it. You need to understand how the market is behaving right now, what the others have started doing it. You need to innovate rapidly and you need to adapt quickly as well. So Flipkart, for that matter, did that really. I don't know if they did really quickly, but they had to come into market with that big marketplace of theirs where they understood that I have so much stuff available that could be sold in minutes. Why not leverage it? So their catalog was put into minutes, and now they have started 10-minute deliveries as well. So from an AI perspective, you have to understand. Because others are doing it, you need to move to that bandwagon. But what's important is you do it right. Your AI driven features do not have to be costly that they, really mess up your P&L. They have to be done in a way that they are enablers for you to do business better. I'm going to take a quick break here, get a sip of water, and try to see what other questions that we have got. Arlene?
Yes. Hi. We've received one from Imtiaz, who has 1 second. How secure is using AI for combining multiple client meeting and feedback summaries and generating user requirements for product roadmaps?
So, see, again, it depends. The answer is, are you using a publicly available Gen AI platform to do it? If yes, then your information is available with the rest of the world. If it is on a platform that is sanctioned by your organization and is only utilized within the realms of your organization, it's safe and secure, right? So that's a very critical piece that you need to understand, that you just cannot go ahead and say that, oh, generate a PRD for me that increases XYZ organization's revenue, which is X billion dollars in 2023 to Y billion dollars in 2024. People are going to get your plan. Like the world will know that whatever you ask the chatbot, it's available publicly now. So the next guy who asks a question, what's the revenue? What's the revenue target for the X organization? The chatbot is going to spit back that answer as well. So be absolutely careful. You can be generic in the questions that you ask externally. In my view, the chat GPTs of the world, the Claudes of the world need to be leveraged very smartly. That you don't give away your information, but get the information that the rest of the world has provided and leverage it in the best of capabilities for yourself. Because the minute you type in your numbers, your figures, you tell where you work, if you tell what's your age, what your kid's name, that's all publicly available information. It's secure in a way. Again, the definition of secure is also very ambiguous. What do you mean by secure? Right? So if you have logged in as Ankur Mishra with the email ID ankurmshra@gmail.com, uh, is that information secure? Yes, it is. When is that going to get leaked? Probably when the database of that organization gets leaked, right? But that is PII. That's personally identifiable information. So you need to be careful what information you provide, where you provide. So again, my suggestion is don't do it. Write your own PRDs, be smart. Ask questions that can lead you to writing the right PRDs. Do your market analysis in a way that you use Gartner reports, for example, to understand what the rest of the industry is doing. Ask like 2024 trends in UI and UX. Let's say it tells you dark mode as one of the trends that needs to be there. Then add that in PRD that I want a dark mode for this product because it's going to look amazingly well in a background and white screen, so or white font. So again, leverage it smartly.
Of course. Thanks, Ankur. We have a question from Parimal who has said, is there any recommendation for using AI for product managers, or are there any specific low code, no code platforms that a product manager should learn to help, do better in Gen AI adoption?
See, uh, a lot of low code, no code platforms came into picture, right? One of my mentees was actually he's a product manager. He was trying to code on it as well. My thing is, why do you need it? Go to Claude, just tell him create something for me that comes in this format, uh, and it's going to give you everything readily available. It can make a um, quick app for you as well and give you that prototype very quickly. So my view is understand what low code no code does. And again, this is a counter view to what a lot of people tell. Um, you should have logical reasoning. You should understand how things work, but you really don't need to go into low code no code to do it. Leverage all these platforms to create a prototype similar to what you would want at work, but not exactly what you need at work, so that you have picture clarity. And just to give you an example, right? Why do you really need to build that in the low code no code platform? Maybe you are trying to show some UX to your developers. Is that the reason? Or you're trying to explain the functionality? Uh, if that's the reason, right? So rather leverage the Figmas of the world, the Canvas of the world to do that work. I am still trying to ask people as a product manager, why is it that you're trying to go in and code? If you understand the logic, if you understand the value as a product manager, for me, that's enough. And that's more than enough actually as a skill that you need. So again, I know some people may not like that answer, but I totally feel that stick to your lane. There is so much that you need to do. Work on your wireframes, make them amazingly well, and you don't need anything else. You don't need that for Gen AI adoption. Very simply, Parimal.
Great. Thanks.
Tirtha, another
Yeah,
question.
we have a question from Tirtha who has asked, in InfoSec in security world, did AI bring in anomaly detection, fraud preventions as parameter, or did those measures already exist and AI made it more efficient?
AI made it more efficient. But you also remember the thing with the InfoSec world, the cybersecurity world is that the threats are ever evolving, right? You would have all heard about the FedEx fraud that everybody is calling about. You are under digital arrest. Did that exist 5 years back or 10 years back? Were your mothers and fathers, your brothers and sister getting into it? No. So that's sort of a digital fraud as well that's happening, which we need to get to know about much faster, much earlier. It's like chore police, right? The police needs to think 3 steps ahead of the chore, and it's the other way around as well. The chores are thinking 3 steps ahead of you as well, so you need to maintain that. And what AI is doing is AI anomaly detection, vulnerability detections, all that it's allowing us to do it much faster. But what it does, it gives us an alarm. There is something which is not right. How does it do it? It looks at the data. It says, oh, this data is different. Ankur, do you want to go back and look at it? And then there is human intervention who goes and says, yes, you were right, AI. There's not a false positive. So I'm going to go ahead and do more research and understand. So, Titha, again, to answer your question, a lot of those things existed, but there are new threats that come in every day. There are things that I cannot disclose to you what we do in our organization, but I can tell you we evolve literally every day. There are discussions that happen every day uh, that 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 are really amazing, which we never thought could happen. And I will tell you this, right? Generally, as an organization as well, with the capabilities that exist, we don't try to build everything AI as well. We try to adopt and buy from outside as well, because we may not be market leaders in building a lot of those things. So make versus buy is a critical piece that you need to think about as product managers. You cannot build everything. So also understand where is it that you need to go and buy stuff, right? There are guys who are going to build it for you much cheap, integrate them into your system, see how they're going to well function, and just leave it there. If you try building it, then it affects your P&L. It also affects your models. Your platforms may not be so modernized. And I work for a very big organization, right? So what happens is that we are rapidly changing, but the smaller organizations might change much faster than us as well. So leverage that part. So these are again, AI has made it efficient. We need to get better. We are getting better in a lot of places across organizations, across industries, and it's only going to improve. But the threat is ever evolving. All right. I'm going to skip some of this because this is something that you all have seen and heard about. I'm going to talk about like what the topic is supposed to be, steps to integrate AI into your product strategy. Because this is the important piece, right? This is what we want to think about. Again, I want to start with this very simple thing. AI is just another piece of technology. What you need to do is you need to think about what the use case is, what the business benefit is, and then think about how is it that if you bring that thing in, would add value to your organization. If it does not add value to your organization, then do not integrate it with your product strategy. You don't need to do it. Even in peer pressure, if it costs you a lot of money to do it, and that's more than your revenue, you are not going to be successful as well. So think about all that. So the first part starts exactly there, right? Identify opportunities for AI integration. So you need to do a thorough analysis of your current product lineup. Where is it? Anomaly detection we were talking about, right? Anomaly detection is something that happens on a day-to-day basis in across any organization that has a matured cybersecurity or an information security presence. But what? How many new threats have come in over a period of X months, X years, X weeks, X hours, X days? You need to be able to understand that part and see whether you need to bring in AI, because there are things which are getting out of hand. The threat actors are becoming smarter by the day. So maybe it is more than human intervention that you needed. You have to identify pain points and areas of improvement in user experience that you do on a regular basis across any product, AI or non-AI. You have to analyze your competitor products and market trends. I spoke about this, right? Market trends will have products which are smaller products, smaller organizations, SaaS-based products, which have built AI capabilities, who are ready to sell it to you. See whether buying it from them is going to work for you, whether integrating your data into them is going to work for you, whether buying that organization, if it's a smaller organization, right, whether buying them and integrating them within your organization is a feasibility or a possibility or not. Those are some very important pieces, right? Brainstorm potential AI applications with cross-functional teams. Cross-functional teams is the keyword over here, because you yourself are not the smartest person in the room. They're amazing data scientists, they're amazing engineers who are there as well. What you do is you do all the 4 or 5 steps ahead, the ones that we have talked about here. You do those 3 or 4 things, and then you bring this analysis across to everybody, and they're going to tell you, Ankur, you're acting stupid, you're talking stupid right now. The cost of doing this is going to be much more than what the threat actor would cost. But you should have the analysis. If there was one threat that comes to us, it's going to cost us in a reputational value so much amount of money. And that's when everyone says, oh, Ankur, you make sense. Let's go ahead and do it. Or let's buy it. Let's build it. Those things need to be understood. Prioritize opportunities based on potential impact and feasibility. Potential impact can be called out. Like as product managers, we are very smart. We can say, oh, it's going to cost us $5 billion. And maybe we can do the mathematics and prove that out as well. But the feasibility of integrating it is also an important necessary factor that you will not do alone. You will do it with the cross-functional teams as well. So leverage that help, identify the opportunity, and only then go ahead and start looking to integrate. Assess data requirements and availability. And we have harped over this fact multiple times. How are you going to leverage AI and ML and NLP and deep learning? How is it? If you have enough data in the right format, you might have structured data, unstructured data. There is work that needs to be done. You want to send all that data to a DB. You want to send that to a data lake. You can process 1 million records. You can process 10 million records. What is it that you can do? You need to understand your data infrastructure. So I think one of the questions from a B2B product manager perspective as well, right, that came up. You are evaluating, you're seeing whether all that exists or not within your organization. Because your data needs to be available, one. The second important part is needs to be secure. You also need to understand the gaps within the data. Because building AI, like doing the feature is not the difficult part. Doing the legwork is the difficult part. You need to have a data strategy to address the gaps that exist. And the privacy and regulatory implications in data collection and use is another important piece. From a B2B perspective, again, right? Just talking about that point and B2B or B2C. If you are going to interact with a vendor outside or a customer outside, or you're going to leverage some other organization's data, whether you are allowed to collect their data and act on it or not, that's an important piece of information. If you're only acting on data that's available within your organization, which is legitimately to be used, and there are no gaps in it, you could build a product. You could do anything that you want to do with it. Choose appropriate AI technologies. Now, again, as product manager, you should be aware what the problem statement is. You know where the data is. You need to understand what is it that I need to implement. And I spoke about this part, right? Consider both off-the-shelf AI services and custom development options as well. Do not look to build everything. Think from the perspective of what is it that I can build versus what is it that I can buy. Also, right, if you are part of a smaller organization that has 100 employees and 1,000 customers, you may look for a smaller AI solution. You know that in 5 years, you only want to scale to 200 employees and 5,000 customers, a smaller solution would work. But for a retail giant, for the Amazons of the world, the Walmarts of the world, a small AI solution will not work. It should be scalable. You should understand that what is going to be the cost of doing all this on a longer term basis as well. Your annualized costs. You also need to understand the real impact of doing that work on a year-to-year basis as well. Let's say you do a use case in year one, you have leveraged the max on it, and year two onwards, it has gone business as usual. So what happened to the models and the money that you are spending on it? So if you could do it without an AI model, without leveraging an AI technology, that would work for you as well. Not because it's fancy that you should use AI. Develop a roadmap for implementation. Again, what I'm talking right now, the 4 steps that I've talked about has not really anything to do with AI in general, right? AI is a keyword that's probably added to every step for a simple reason that I myself see AI as an enabler to do product work, engineering work that allows you to do something in a more structured, faster, predictive way. And that's what I've written down in these points. Create a phased approach for AI integration, set clear measurable objectives, allocate resources and budget for AI initiatives, establish timelines and plan for iterative development. I'm making it sound simple for the reason that doing all of this from a product management is the simpler part. The difficult part is the first 2 steps that I talked about, identifying the opportunity and then seeing whether your data is there or not and whether it's in the right capacity or not. Build or acquire necessary capabilities. We spoke about it. Assess your team's current AI expertise. If you do not have the engineers to do it, if your product managers do not have that capability, maybe you need to train them. You need to do certain things, and that's going to help you out. Invest in AI training and education for your team. Consider hiring AI specialists or data scientists if needed. I totally feel the most important people are data scientists. because they are the ones who are going to make heads and tails out of your data, give you something which is going to be amazing, and then you feel, oh, this is what I wanted to do, or this is the impact that I wanted to make. Again, make versus buy is a critical piece of information as well in this. Develop a data pipeline and infrastructure. Why this is important? Because ultimately, as a product manager, you're going to build a UI to the AI at the backend. So the backend is going to have whether you're going to put data into a data lake, how is it that your data structured, unstructured, whether data quality is good, how is it that you're going to implement data governance and security measures, and then how is it that you're going to label your data in a way that if somebody else within the organization wants to use that data, how is it that they'll be able to do it? So I am a big proponent of thinking platform. So if you're able to build something that your whole organization can use, it's going to make more sense as well. So always think from that perspective. Uh, because if you build an AI-based feature for yourself, which somebody else cannot leverage, for me, it's a fail. Prototype and test AI enhanced features. Do your proof of concepts. You can perform A/B tests to compare AI enhanced features with traditional approaches. That's a very important piece, right? Because as I said, year one, you implemented something, you leveraged AI, you did wonderfully well. Year two onwards, there is nothing, and you are just incurring costs. So rather think about whether if I do it without AI, whether it's going to make sense for me or not as well. You iterate, you take your user feedback, do your performance results, and be smart about how you do it. Plan for scalability, design your AI systems with scalability in mind. And I spoke about it in the past. Easily, if there is a way for you to build for future, for build for platforms, for build for extensive teams, do it. Because that is where you add value. Because the cost of building once is high, the cost of building twice is higher. So build it once, build it in a way that everybody can use it within the organization. And you, once building, you think from a platform approach. If there are failures, you're able to catch them. Continue to build on edge cases as well. Make sure that whatever you're building makes totally valuable sense for everybody as well. Address ethical and legal considerations. I'm going to spend some time talking about these points, right? Because every organization in today's world, this was one of the questions as well. Can I use AI to write my PRDs, my requirements? Is it okay? You have to develop guidelines for responsible AI use in your products. You cannot have voice generation for your boss in a way that the voice generated can say, all of you have a holiday tomorrow and no need to come, because that's going to have a bigger impact, a worse impact to the organization than anything else. So be smart about it, be responsible. There are other use cases that might mess things up. Ensure compliance with relevant AI regulations and data protection laws. You have to ensure that, let's say, data within US has to be stored for 7 years, for example. In India, I'm not sure what that specific law is, how many years you need to save it for. But there should be a proper way. The labeling of data is important. If you were to do it for a B2B organization, or you were to do it for a government organization, you would have to think about it a lot more, because a bigger amount of data is at stake. Also, you need to follow your regulations well. Establish an AI ethics committee or review process, right? So your organization culture is the important piece in building AI. It is not a single person who can build AI in an organization and say, done, ho gaya. That does not work. It only works in the way that the organization had decided that we want to adapt to AI, and adopt AI, that somebody starts building that culture. There are teams that need to be built who start seeing it as a holistic thing, and then you'll be able to build your products on top of it. Prepare for organizational change. Communicate the AI strategy across the organization. A single person does not do it. You need to have probably a platform if you to think about it. Manage expectations and address concerns about AI integration. Provide training and resources, and foster a culture of innovation and continuous learning. If all that is set up, if there is a push, competitive analysis has been done, we know I'm at organization X and organization Y. There are people who have started doing it, and their market analysis shows that they are doing amazingly well. I think the organizations are going to push for it much more. And then launch and iterate. These steps are not different from what you would do for a non-AI product as well. The things that are different is how do you identify the opportunity? How is it that you go forward? Build your data pipelines, build your data infrastructure. Organizationally, how is it that you change, build that change management plan? And then the rest of it is very similar to how you would do it for a regular product. Remember again, a single person cannot drive AI within an organization because there is data involved in building AI-based products. And that's the reason that it is an organizational wide effort and not an individual effort that's going to allow you to do it. If your organization is not doing it, as product manager, go to the who's who of the organization, speak to them, understand what the organization strategy is. Do not start asking chat GPTs of the world, how do I write my PRDs? Go back and tell them, I want to be able to write my PRDs using an in-house product. Can I build that in-house product? And they're going to come back and ask you a million questions which you can answer or not answer, and leverage an AI expert from an outside world who can come in and help answer those questions for your organization. I know I spoke a lot. I'm going to take a quick water break and listen to your questions.
Great. I'll let you have a few seconds till you drink your water. We have a question from Ankit. Until then, I can read that out. Right? Ankit is saying, we have done successful POC using RAG for chatbot that supports user support team. What extra needs to be done when we actually productionalize at scale for both functional and non-functional aspects?
So again, is your organization ready to adopt it? You have done a POC. So what does that mean? Like you've done it only for a single team or you've done it for the organization, right? The steps that I talked about. Does your organization know how to store that data? What that data is going to be that you're going to utilize? So I'll give you an example, right? If you have to productionize a chatbot, so that means that you are going to use somebody's LLM to give answers through the chatbot. So what that means? That means that you're going to ask a question. When you ask that question, how is that data going to flow? Is that data going to flow back to that third-party vendor, or is it going to remain within your realm? Or if there is a legal agreement that has happened between you and the guy saying that I'm not going to disclose this data is not going to be available for public information and is going to be in a DB probably that is only used by the organization X where you're from, right, Ankit? So there are a lot of challenges. There is a lot of legal work that needs to be done because whatever you ask, that data needs to be in a certain format, needs to be stored for a certain period of time. All of those things, the legwork needs to be done before you actually go ahead and productionize. From a functional perspective, you should understand very clearly your use case that you are trying to build it for. If you will have so many users using that chatbot to do a certain thing, if not, then why build it, right? How does it affect your P&L? How is it that you will be able to solve the user's problem by doing it? Again, I do not know what POC you have done. What is it that you are looking from a POC? Because now, when the organization is ready to sign that contract, there are a lot of legal aspects that are going to come into picture, which your organization should be ready to talk about. And your lawyers should also understand about whether your data is only going to stay in India, whether it is China data. China wants its data to be housed within China itself and not anywhere else, for example, right? US can have its data stored in India as well. There's no issue. So it all depends who your users are, where are they from, who is going to use the chatbot, so many other things into consideration before you can productionize. So chatbots are, as in any AI products are very tricky for the matter because where are you going to store that data and how is it going to reside?
Hey, thanks for that, Ankur. I think we only have, we haven't received any more questions so far.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take another 5 minutes and move to the use cases, right? And challenges and considerations. I've spoken about a lot of these: data privacy and security, ethical considerations, technical expertise, integration with existing systems. And Ankit, I think you were asking about, right, what is it that we should do before we productionize? You need to look at these aspects, because unless you do, you will not be able to solve for actually being able to integrate within your systems with confidence, feeling that your data is in the right hands. Case studies, right? So these were some publicly available case studies. Those numbers I've taken from the internet. So don't kill me if these numbers are not accurate as well. This is publicly available information on the internet, so I'm utilizing it. Um, Amazon's recommendation engine. We have spoken about this. It analyzes the user behavior, purchase history, and product interactions. The same example that I've been giving you for a period of time on this call itself, right? Whatever you want to buy, it's going to be available. You can come in, buy that stuff. It has worked really well for Amazon. In fact, Walmart, if you go to walmart.com, you're going to see how search has impacted Walmart as well. Go ahead and read a bit about that, because it's been a revolutionary thing in terms of e-commerce, how the recommendation engines have been leveraging machine learning and collaborative filtering. Healthcare, IBM Watson for oncology. It uses natural language processing and machine learning. It analyzes patient data and medical literature to suggest treatment options. This is something that they want to do in Bangalore as well. So there are startups which have started getting into healthcare within Bangalore. It assists oncologists in making more informed decisions, improving patient care. In fact, the IBM Watson case study is available on IBM on the Watson website. There are people who have spoken about it as well. Amazing case study. Do read about this. Um, Robinhood's fraud detection system. Robinhood is like the Grows of the world, if you know the Grows and the Zerodhas of the world, based out of US. They were able to detect the anomaly and prevent the fraudulent activities. It significantly reduced fraud incidents. It enhanced the user trust and platform security. So what I've done is, right, in general, look at what technology was used, how was it implemented, and the results that the people got. And these examples are across industries. Tesla's autopilot, like literally everybody is aware about what was done. Deep learning and computer vision, self-driving cars. We know that they're the pioneers in this. They were able to process sensor data to enable semi-autonomous driving features as well. They're moving towards autonomous driving features. The amazing part, the challenge for them is going to be how they drive in India, specifically in Bangalore. So that's when I would feel that AI has done its work, if they are able to come and drive in Bangalore. But it has improved safety features. If you look at videos of Teslas, they are able to confidently change lanes, turn right, turn left, brake on time. So there is nothing that these guys have not been able to achieve. Netflix content recommendation, right? If you really look at the result, 80% of content watched on Netflix comes from recommendations, reducing churn, which was a big problem. Like even till some time back, whenever I would go to Amazon Prime or Netflix, I would spend 80% of my time, literally 90% of my time, trying to scroll through and see what is it that I want. But it has become smarter by nature, by the day as well. And I think I stop on the first screen itself more often than not now, knowing what I want to watch. So it's becoming much better. Grammarly, over 30 million daily active users, improving writing quality across various platforms. It analyzes text, provides grammar and style suggestions. If used Grammarly, it's amazing. I know Apple came up with new features this time around with the latest update, the Apple the iOS 18 update, I believe that's what it was, which people thought is going to kill Grammarly, because now it can be done on an iPhone easily. But they're there, and they are leveraging AI to do this. They're using NLP and machine learning. John Deere's See and Spray, that was one example that I said. It identifies and targets individual weeds in crop fields. So they know which weed to pick or pluck. And it has reduced herbicide usage by up to 77%, increasing efficiency and sustainability. So there are things which are happening across industry that we are not aware of. There is so much that's available over the internet that you can see, learn, and whatnot. Google Nest thermostat is another example which people talk about. Leverages machine learning and predictive analysis. The average energy savings on 10 to 12% on heating and 15% on cooling are amazing results. That's US results primarily that I'm talking about from a Google Nest perspective. Again, I've spoken a lot in terms of what is AI doing, how is it integrating back into our product strategy. We have reviewed some AI technologies, benefits, integration steps, highlighted AI's transformative power in product development. There are things that we have done in terms of how the organization needs to change, how the examples have worked across multiple areas, case studies that have happened, NLP, machine learning, predictive analysis, use cases. There is so much that's happening around this world. Look for your specific areas, understand what your organization is doing, because you single-handedly will not be able to do it. You'll have to look at your organization to pave path for you to be able to leverage AI correctly, right? And the last piece, right, that's called over here, stress responsibility in developing safe, fair, and transparent AI-driven products. Because it's a tool that cannot replace human creativity and decision making. It's going to enable it. So if it ethically enables it, is what we want. So I'm going to pause there. I have yeah, this is what I had, Harleen. I never expected I'm going to speak for 1 hour, 42 minutes. So yeah, and I
It's
have to
been
leave
great.
in
It's been
another
a
1 hour
very
after this for a meeting.
it's been a wonderful session. We have one question from Ankit again, who has asked,
Yeah.
"What are your views on AI agents?"
On AI agents. See, again, I will tell you how I use AI right now, right? Um, so externally, outside work, I'm not using a lot of AI, to be honest. Um, so the only AI agents that I'm literally using at this moment is within my organization that has been developed by my organization by leveraging other agents. So, so I'm at a position of responsibility as well. So I just cannot go ahead and just type stuff and ask stuff. So I have to do it very responsibly. But again, I think everybody needs to be responsible in that sense. But it's wonderful, right? My view is leverage it to your strength to accentuate your positives. Simple. So go ahead, look for what you're looking for. Ask questions that enable your decision making because I think this part is key. Emphasize AI as a tool to augment, not replace human creativity and decision making. Don't make it write your PRDs, man. Like an average product manager job that might earn you anywhere between 30 lakhs and 1 crore. Um, they're going to replace it with the AI. And imagine the quality of products that are going to get developed if AI were to give requirements. So yeah, again, my view is use them responsibly, use them in a way that it makes more sense for everyone. And yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Ankur. Of course, right? Like the products are being made for humans, so only humans would understand the best as opposed to AI. Yeah.
Just imagine this part, right? I have a 5-year-old son and a 1-year-old son. Uh, I just think about if AI would start doing everything, how would my boys, how would their thinking be 15 years from now, 20 years from now? Like, are they going to be dumb to not think? Or are they going to be smart enough to bypass and think on their own, right?
Mhm.
So uh, you cannot keep kids away from technology. Uh, it's part of everyone's day-to-day life. If you think from an ethical perspective, you'll be able to do a wonderful job with it.
Of course. Thank you, Ankur. We have received one final question from Tirtha.
Yeah.
Right? Before we wrap up, maybe we can just address that. When we're talking about data availability and then creating a data repository, If we are creating the data repository from scratch, is it recommended to open it broader organization which will encourage AI scalability through AI, or keep it restricted to the first phase of the roadmap?
No, so you need to have a data roadmap, and data infrastructure gets built in different ways in different organizations, right? So again, I work for a mature organization. The data structures, the data organ, there is a separate data organization altogether. So we know what's happening over there. The smaller organizations, the startups of the world, do not think of it in that way, right? But if you are an AI organization, or if you are a startup, or you are a SaaS product company, you need to think about how is it that your data organization is going to look like, which means where are you going to store your data? How are you going to collect your data? What frequency is it going to be from? Who can access the data? How are you going to access the data? Some of those things, right? Absolute basics. So again, you can have a phased approach, but you need to be secure. One, there are some non-negotiables that you have to go with in terms of data security, the structure that you're going to build and whatnot. Also, while you do a phased approach, you have to be smart enough to know if I have 1 terabyte of data today to consume, for example, I'm going to store it in such structures. If you go from 1 terabyte of data to 100 terabyte of data, will the same structure suffice or not? So at least some level of strategic thinking needs to be done at that point in time. If you do not think from that, you may implement it in phases, but you should think about an end goal and end state as well. Otherwise, you're going to fail. That's my view.
Of course. Thank you for that, Ankur. We received another question from Imran, which I think is quite interesting. Do you mean that product manager role could be completely replaced with some intelligent product created with AI? Or, and if yes, do we need to get upgraded with AI? But will the PM role will be replaced by some other role?
You
If
guys
that
are
helps.
asking me difficult questions, right? I don't get paid for doing this, by the way. But I can tell you, for answering your difficult questions, I'm also thinking a lot of these things as we go. Very simply, right? Product manager's job. What is product manager's job? You need to understand that part. Like creating a document, an AI agent can do. But what to write in that document needs to come from a human brain, in my view. Understanding your customer. I'll give you an example, right? Sunday, I went to there's a clock in my house that was not working, so I took it for repair. So there's a guy who came in, who was standing at the clock repairer's store, and that guy was showing him the phone, and the language on the phone was Kannada. I do not understand Kannada, so the guy was saying that I want to change my password. I've forgotten my current password. So while Google probably thinks that changing password is easy, maybe for a specific persona who speaks a specific language and is living in a tier one city where you expect everyone to be, oh, everyone in Bangalore knows technology, they have not thought about that use case, right? So there is a segment of customer who cannot do that work. How do you meet these people? How do you talk to these people? Your AI agent is not going to help you talk to these people. I have seen that guy. Now that persona sits in my head as well. So I can solve for that persona. Your chat agent still does not know that guy exists. I know. So a human's brain cannot be replaced. Some jobs, writing a Jira ticket maybe can be passed on to an AI agent. I don't mind that. I don't want to write that. But yeah, that's something that can be changed. But I totally believe job is not going anywhere. Also, our job will become more like product marketing than the product management pieces of it as well. A lot of organizations, product managers also do PNL management. Big organizations, that does not happen. We don't do PNL management in our case unless we are absolutely senior in the organization where I get to see the PNL. I'm asked questions about it, but I don't do it on a regular day-to-day basis. But that's where we stand. So not all jobs are going to go. some are going to go. We are going to transform to a more product marketing job, wherein you market outside your organization or within your organization. You tell people, oh, I have an AI chat agent that I've built. Can we leverage it? And everybody says, yes, yes, it's amazing. Let's build it. So yeah, that's the change. I know I took a long time to answer that question.
Okay, so what I understand from that is that the AI will not be able to replace the human aspect of humans, the
At least
emotional
I think,
understanding,
yeah,
and
I
yeah,
think about it, right? It's non-emotional.
of course, yeah, very factual that way. Okay, great. I
Okay.
think that brings us to an end for today's session, right? Thank you so much, Ankur, for delivering such a wonderful session. It's been very insightful. I'm sure everyone here will agree that it's been very fruitful. So please accept this certificate of appreciation from the Institute. The QR code on the certificate will take you to a dedicated Hall of Fame page that's been created for you on our Institute's website.
Okay.
And I will make sure to send this across to you too. So
Okay.
thank you very much for joining in and for sharing your wonderful insights and knowledge with everyone here. We have some people commenting in the chat too, right, for the amazing session and thanking you. So on behalf of everyone here, thank you so much
Thank you
for
so much,
giving
guys.
us your
Thank you for
valuable time
asking
and
the
your
questions, right? Because the session means nothing unless you ask me questions. I'm going to click a picture of this and thank you so much again.
Of course. I will make sure to send it across to you as well. Right?
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
Once again,
Okay,
guys,
great.
thank you so much.
Oh, also,
Hope your product journeys are amazing.
thank you, Ankur. Just one question. I received this in chat too. Just wanted to confirm with you. Someone has asked if we would be able to share your presentation with the people here. I just
Please
wanted
do
to
it.
check with you as it's, your
Please do it. Please do
presentation.
it. Please do it. No, no
All
worries.
right. Okay, great. So all the attendees, I'll make sure to send that across to you tomorrow morning. Right?
Perfect.
Great.
Thank you so much, guys, again. Have a great day, and I will jump onto another meeting. Bye.
Of course. Thank you, Ankur. Thank you to everyone stayed for the whole duration of the masterclass. I'm sure you've all found it fruitful and enriching. If you guys could take a few seconds to just scan the QR codes on your screen and leave any feedback, reviews about your experience at this masterclass, I would greatly appreciate it. I'll wait here for a couple of seconds so you guys can go ahead and do that. Um, okay, I hope that is enough time. I guess that brings us to an end for this evening and to this evening's session. Thank you all for joining in again. It's been a pleasure hosting you. I look forward to seeing you at some of the Institute's future similar sessions. Thank you all. Have a good rest of the evening.